you're coming in, I'm Lara Joe, Siren Lover. We're going to do some collective tarot. Drop a high, let me know how it's going, where you're from. How is the energy in the world treating you? Because it's a doozy out there, guys. It's grizzly kind of for everyone, so. Hello. Come on in, I'm Lara Joe. Let me know where you're from, how it's going. We're going to do some collective tarot, which, guys, collective means if you resonate with my vibe, if things sound like it's hitting, that's for you. But it is collective, meaning that if you're in, it may not necessarily be for you. It may be for someone else. But let's see what we need to know. What is the intention? Okay, that's too many. We're not doing all those. We'll do some of those, though. Okay. Pardon my growling stomach. So chaos and conflict, yin and imagine. So this is asking you, what does your feminine, whether you're masculine or feminine, what does your feminine energy look like in a happier light when you're not dealing with chaos and conflict, right? We open differently when we can be soft. So this is asking you what fighting around your own feminine energy, which feminine is nurturing, it's caring, it's loving, it's embodying, again, whether you're male or female, but imagine what it feels like to not have all of this hanging over your feminine energy, right? So this is asking you to imagine a life without chaos and conflict, and what does it feel like to be able to be open, to receive, to be able to embrace that nurturing side of yourself, right? And this is also a chat, guys, that you have to nurture and embody your feminine energy and be the mom for yourself that you may not have necessarily had, right? It's hard to know sometimes what a loving mother looks like because you never had it. So it's how would you want to embrace yourself? The why. So we need to be asking ourselves, what is our why? What motivates us to get up and keep going every day? So the why is important. Why do you crack open your eyes? Why do you decide to do the things? And as well, realizing that if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for everything. So knowing your why is important, right? Because otherwise you're going to be out there just not knowing. Truth be told. So recognizing, okay, what is the truth? What is a lie? If it's left me in confusion, we're going to say that that's a lie until we can keep moving forward. So truth be told, being very radically honest with yourself about what the truth is. That's number 14 as well. So temperance may be important. Sagittarius energy may be important. But it's remembering that there's two sides to every corner. There's two sides to every coin. So truth be told, you may not have the full picture or image of what's going on. So ask questions, be investigative, and again, why. So you need to narrow it down to why do you keep doing this thing? Being honest with yourself, and if it's not healthy for you, then you need to start moving away from it, right? I had this conversation with someone I love dearly the other day, and I was like, hey, yes, you keep being, and this is even a conversation with myself, is, hey, yes, this thing keeps happening, but we need to figure out what within us keeps generating that thing happening. So when you notice the loop in the pattern, you recognize where you have taken part in it, right? It's not fun work, yet it's important work. Recognizing, though, why do we keep doing these things? And then being honest with yourself, honest with others, and moving past that. All right? Hello. If you guys are coming in, I'm Lara Joe, Siren Song Lover. We're doing collective energy reads. If you like my vibe, press the like, comment, share. Never-ending story. Shadow work is an always ever evolving process. But the never-ending story in life is we're always going to have challenges. Yet when we hit the next level, hey fairy tulips, how are you? When we hit the next level, it's not like we're going into it completely unprepared. We have all of the information and skills that we've learned before. So while it feels like a new level, new devil, no, you're you've learned from the last one, right? That's the progression. We learn from the last one and we evolve and grow. So never ending story is not being frustrated with, oh, this thing happened again. It's being able to question, why does this thing keep happening? And then soothing it within yourself so you don't keep attracting it. So never ending story is asking you, before you go lash out, go within, check your emotions and your temperature first. I've had this very much this week. So where I've had to be like, oh gosh, did I overreact? Was I being too harsh? Is it a me problem or is it someone else, right? Fairy tulips, it's been rough, my friend. It's been rough, but I'm here. I'm Lara Jo, Siren Song Lover. Let's see what else you need to know. We are doing collective energy reads. So if you like my vibe and it resonates, please consider booking a reading with me. When you book a read with me, it's critical, right? Like I'm a one-woman show and I have 7 animals that depend on me. So this is how I make money. So if you guys like what you see, if it resonates with you, please book a read with me. Okay, so poise. It's saying, are you ready for that thing that you want? I'll give an example. This is something that happened to me last week. I said to the universe, hey, I have this need. And the universe said, no, you need to go do that thing that I told you to do, which at that time was cleaning the house, right? I was like, oh, I have to go do these things. But I was so focused on what was happening later that I was not focusing on what was happening now. So it was that whole, okay, I've got this need. Universe told me, no, you clean. You do the thing that I told you to do. And then my need was provided for. So while I was busy stressing out how is it going to work out, the universe said, no, you go do this thing so that I can take care of the other. So poise is saying, if you want that thing, you have to be prepared. And where that lesson was going was that I was saying I had this need, but I wasn't ready. So poise is saying when you are ready and the universe can see it, then you'll move forward. That as well, too. With shadow work or with healing, we always say, oh, I'm done healing. Well, until you've learned the lesson, the universe will keep presenting to you the same information to determine, are you truly ready? So poised is saying, I'm ready. You have to be physically ready, though, to tell the universe that. So, hello. If you guys are coming in, I'm Lara Jo, Siren Song Lover. We're doing collective tarot, deep knowing in reverse. This is, and I understand, right? I am in this as well. This is that fear of what if it doesn't work out? Well, let's actually change that. What if it all works out better than you ever thought it would? So the deep knowing is tapping in, trusting yourself, but also knowing that it always works out for the highest and greatest good. It may feel uncomfortable in the moment, but long term, you'll be okay, right? So be ready so you don't have to get ready is what poised is asking us. And the deep knowing in reverse is just saying, if you're feeling questions, right, you need to sit and see what the answers are. Okay, so building blocks. We are building our foundation. We can't keep doing that if we're looking back. So, what I would say is, even if somebody from the past, if you knew they were going to reach out, right, I'm not doing personal questions unless you want to pay for my time, right? That's how we get personal one-on-one attention, is reciprocity through energy exchange, which is currency, money, right? But as far as anybody reaching out from the past, they're not relevant unless they're actually making the active steps to meet you. That's what I'm going to go with, is just saying that if you're over here working your ass off, if they're in the past, there's a reason. And I'm going to say this as well. The windshield is gigantic because that's where you're going. The rear view is tiny because it's only in the past. So if we're asking, is so-and-so or are they coming back? Well, we're looking forward and the projection is huge. Whereas if you keep trying to look back, you're going to get stuck and you're going to crash out. So let's not crash out, right? And I'm going to give you, and this is my like high priestess, auntie, mom vibe, whatever you want, because I get a lot of age range where they're like, you remind me just of my mama. I'm like, yeah, or I could be your auntie, right? So I love it. Okay, so the cardinal signs, I'm a cardinal sign, right? My firstborn is a Capricorn. He and I have fought many a times, but what I always say, if you're moving forward, your lane is clear, right? This is your lane, right? And this is someone else's lane. It's not developed, it's twisty, it's turny, it's a dirt path, right? So recognizing that you have a lane, stay in it. And if you keep looking over your shoulder to see who's catching up with you, you're going to crash out and spiral out and spin out. And if you stay on your path, right, you're going to get to your destination. You're not going to miss a turn. Everything that is for you, including the music choice, is right there. So that's where I always say, if you're looking for someone from the past, stay in your lane, because if they're meant to be with you, they'll catch up to you. And if they're not, that's their own business, right? My kiddos, the one thing my kiddo will say is, her song reference for me is With or Without You by U2. Right? Because with or without someone else, I'm going to get to my end goal. And that's also, people thought like, oh, she's going to crash out, she's going to get stuck in everybody else's. I'm like, no, with or without that person, I'm getting to the end goal. And it hurts feelings when I do it, but I'm like, you had the opportunity to show up and you didn't, right? I can't keep holding, like, think of all of us, like, if we're a ship, a vessel, right? If that person doesn't show up on time to take off with you, then they've missed the boat or the vessel, and you can't keep holding your life for them. Right? People always want, oh, wait for me. No, the fuck we don't. You're either here or you're not. You're dressed up and you're ready to play, or you're not. And if you're not, that's cool, but don't expect me to hold for you. Okay, so that's a lot of, I know that's kind of harsh love, but that really is, stay in your lane, keep moving forward, because you've got big things to do. And this is the other part of it. I said, like, last week, I was like, my path is so big that I don't have time for dusty, crusty, musty asses to determine, like, oh, well, I really want to be. No, you show up, right? And that's the part too, Britt. Like, people come to me and I'm like, it's tough love, but it's firm love. That's why I say it's kind of like mommy, like mom or auntie love is like, oh, this may be a tough pill to swallow, yet it's one of those that we want to see you healthy and growing and moving on in life and not getting stuck waiting for others. So here's this part. I'm not the reader that's going to, I mean, I do give warm and fuzzy reads, right? And I do give warm and fuzzy experiences, but I'm the reader that's like, I would rather tell you the truth than pander and people please and have you get hurt, because women out here are getting hurt. I don't know if you've noticed or seen it, but it's like, I would rather give you tough love. And I came from a DV situation, right? So I definitely give like a different tough love type of advice, because I'm like, that boy is going to kill you. Right, there are some boys that will end you, so I'm out here being like, hey, if it feels like confusion, that's actually hatred, right? So I would rather, and as well, I came from the medical field. And yeah, it's nice to have patients love you, but the thing about me, my doctors, my patients respected me. And they knew that I was competent and that I was going to get the job done and that it was going to be done really well. So again, love versus respected and trusted, I will take respected and trusted. And respected and trusted means saying the hard thing that others don't want to hear. Even with myself, right? Like, even with myself, I have to be like, Lara, this is not loving for yourself. You wouldn't tolerate this. And that's the other part. My kids look at me and they're like, some of the things that people try to slide past me, and they're like, Mama, what are you doing? You don't tolerate that. And I'm like, no, you're right. You're right. My daughter had to have a come to Jesus moment with me. It's different. It's hard, too, when you've got older kids and they give you your own advice. And I'm like, well, you're cooking, but it's my own advice. So, I mean, I feel it and I appreciate it. But sometimes it's a little, it's much. But it's progression and healing and love here. Yeah. I realize. And this part as well, like, because I came out of a long marriage, right? But it's realizing that, okay, there's happiness once you leave. Like, there will come a point when you're in long-term relationships where you'll be like, if I don't leave today, I'm never going to leave, and that thought will scare you, right? And like I say, I mentor all the way from, like, little kids all the way up to grown-ass folks, like adults, like, octogenarians, right? So I get like a wide age range, but it's saying like, hey, this isn't loving and you got to keep moving. So Britt, this as well though, it's anything from the past. It's one of those, like, it had its time and its place, and why would you not want to create the most beautiful reality? So we have co-create, and this as well, guys. Just because your past looked like one thing does not mean that you cannot pick up the pen and author a new story. author a new chapter, author a new ending. At any point, you are the co-creator in your life, and you can choose a different avenue, right? Co-create is saying you are the co-pilot or the pilot, whichever way, but you are co-creating with everyone around you and also with the divine. So while you may feel stuck like Chuck, right, you are able to take up the pen and write an exit plan for yourself. Alrighty? So, Britt, what I would suggest, if you want, book a read with me, my little love. We'll sit down, we'll nitty-gritty, like we get into it deep, because I don't just talk about metaphysical and tarot reading. I also talk about deep trauma healing, deep patterning, what it looks like to finally start releasing those chains from your family. Some of these boys are... Okay, so here's this part. But that's a never-ending story. At one point, you have to realize, like, if it makes you sick every time you go to that fountain, well, and that's as well, if there's that big an age gap, that's potentially, he could be working, and that's something we should probably talk about. But never-ending story, like, yeah, sometimes we do get stuck like Chuck on people, but it's because they're doing spell work. Right, and you have to recognize that as well. So never-ending story is, okay, and this, I have one person that I was stuck on, yet I had to realize, like, every time I went to drink from that fountain, he's a Scorpio, which Scorpios are known for it. I was stuck on a Scorpio, stuck like stupid on a Scorpio, so I get it. Ours is complex too, because we spent a very long time together, and we have a family, and we had a life, and all that jazz. So Scorpios are a thing. They don't change. Like, yeah, they have beautiful sex appeal, but it's recognizing, though, that if every time you go to that fountain or that cup, you feel sick or poisoned or like you're lacking afterwards, right? Then you have to recognize that I can't keep going back to that cup. Okay. How old is your baby? We'll talk about it. But how old is your baby? Let's talk about that. Okay. What are you, Britt? Let's ask that as well, because then we can tie in dynamics, because then I can create a bigger picture. I was a single mom, right? Or no, what sign are you? Sorry, I think you did tell me you were 32, but what sign are you in all of this? That's right. I am so sorry. You did tell me that. Okay, so there is like a weird chemistry between Capricorn and Libra, but it gets even weirder between Capricorn and Scorpio. Like, Cap and Scorpio tend to be more of like the darker side, so sometimes you guys get into a weird little, like, one person did something psycho and the other one's like, I've done worse, I'll allow it. That's where you get into weird with Capricorn and Scorpio. Okay. It's better to do it alone, though, than with a deadbeat, right? Or that's draining you. Because your child is watching his father, drain you, right? And I was talking to a guy the other day, and he said, how would your kids react? And I said, my kids would react if you make me happy. They won't, like, if you make me happy, if they can tell that it's genuine and you're actually good for me and they see me loving again, that's more important than anything else. Yeah. Yeah. And that happens as well, right? Scorpios are beautiful and elusive, but they're fun, right? They make you feel very seen. And also, though, like, if a Scorpio's in the room, you're not in danger because the Scorpio is the danger. But if the Scorpio is in the room and they get mad, then you're in trouble. Like, to leave or best a Scorpio is a death sentence. And I speak that from personal experience, right? I barely have escaped by the skin of my ass from a Scorpio. So, yeah, they're fun, and they're mysterious, and they're charming, and they've got, like, a sex appeal, but they're very, like, dark, insane in the membrane. That's from personal experience. That's from spending a long time as a partner to a Scorpio. Attest to that. Yeah, no, they're fun, but again, it's that whole, like, they are the danger, so be careful. Hello, Sasha. I'm Lara Jo. We are doing collective energy reads. Guys, if this resonates and you want to book a one-on-one and go deeper with me, right, then that's how we do that. Yeah. They typically don't let it out, but when they do, or when they feel a way towards you, you'll meet that dark side and you'll wish you hadn't. Because they hold hella grudges, right? Just personal experience. Alrighty. So, let's see what else we need to know from the deck. Yeah, no, there's a very few rare that see it, and when they do, it's traumatizing. Soulmate. So, recognizing soulmates aren't just relationship partners, guys. So, this is that recognizing that your friendships are your soulmates. Your children are your soulmates. So, and sometimes even driving down the road, smiling at someone, that's a soulmate connection because you've contracted with them to have those interactions. And you can rewrite what we have going forward. So this part though, Britt, what I would suggest for the sake of your son is clearly defining boundaries with baby daddy, right? And cutting that off, because it's better to do it alone. This is where I was going to go. It's better to do it alone than to be with an abusive partner or to be with someone that drains you. And that is from personal experience. Like my son, I was a single mom. I raised him up until 7 completely alone. I was working. I put myself through school, like got a whole college education, and that was still better than dealing with his deadbeat baby dad. But then on top of that, when my son turned 18 and he called up his dad and he told him how he felt, his dad laid in about me and how I was awful and, you know, this, that, and the other thing. I was like, I saved your ass. I saved your bacon. I raised that kid without any input from you, without any financial support. I made something of myself because you couldn't step up and be a man. So recognizing, though, it's better to be alone and raise your child without the interference. As far as the past Scorpio, what I would suggest that is just letting it go. And I understand it's intense. I understand that you go back to it. I'm going on over 3 years of it, right? Of trying to escape my Scorpio. And it is a challenge and it is whatever. But it's also like that's being away from him is better than being under him. Especially when they go rogue. All right? And I know it's like that weird. And as well, it's better to be alone than to be with abusive partners. That's what I've learned in the last 3 years, because I've been single mostly for the last 3 years, right? And even with dating part of it, it's like it's better to be alone and to raise my kiddos alone than to have to deal with someone who's awful for us. So Come to the Edge is asking you to push your boundaries of comfort. Come to the Edge is asking you to be willing to explore. Except for it's not worth it, I promise. And they don't normally come back like that, but I wouldn't reject it. I would just keep moving. That's why I said, like, here's your lane. Because the satisfaction, Britt, is going to be you moving on and having a beautiful life and never looking back. Right? So that's why I say, like, this is your lane. This is their lane. Theirs is completely underdeveloped and not habitable, right? And you want a smooth ride and you've got an open path. So whether they're with you or not, it's time to be on your path, right? We don't have to worry. And this, everybody always gets karma for what they did. So anybody that was playing funny or moving foul, this is what I'm going to tell you, because I'm Libra, right? I am the master of karma and Saturn. So I learned, especially in the last 3 years, because I have a wicked shadow side, right? Like I've hurt people, and I'm not bragging about that, but I've hurt people. I know that I'm capable of it, but it's realizing within myself, even though I'm capable of destroying people, right? Even destroying their psyche, I also recognize I don't want to do the paperwork. I don't want to suffer the karma. So what I've learned is I don't need to give anybody their karma. I just need to clock it and keep moving, right? Yeah. So, thanks, Young. I'm Lara Jo, Siren Song Lover. Here we go. Alrighty, so that is always my advice, though, staying in your lane. You have a lane. That lane is undeveloped. We just keep going on ours, right? This is like the city took good care of us. There's no potholes over here. There's no wrenches in the freeway, which I have hit a wrench on a freeway. That was quite an experience. It reminded me very much of Mario Kart, right? Yeah, so stay in your lane. There's less traffic there, right? That is the biggest part. Stay in your lane because there's less traffic there. Less possibility of getting crashing out, right? Try and not show everybody my biz there. All right. Okay. Let me take a drink of water. All right. Got a little hot there. Get a little drinky-roo of water. Let's see what else we need to know. All right. Hello. I'm glad you came in and you found good guidance, right? Like, even if it's just chatting, like, I always give good advice, good guidance. I've done a million things. I've had a million experiences in life and spirituality, so I talk about all of it, right? I also know what it's like to be fucked over by the court system with child custody issues. So narcissistic abuse, I've suffered it and survived. Addiction, I've been in addiction and I've survived. I've been 3 years sober. I didn't have help with that. I walked myself out of addiction. So, yeah, and that's normally what it is. That's why people want a quick answer. I was like, no, it's deeper than that. Come actually get the lesson behind it. Because, yeah, people want a yes or no, but I'm like, you got to actually know. Even if they presented themselves back from the past, you're not the same person you were when you were with them, right? So they're meeting Britt here, right? They're meeting Britt 2026, but they know you from Britt 2023. Right? And that's not the same version that you are. So you got to keep growing and expanding, and we expect our partners to be able to, and if they haven't, right, we don't need them in our atmospheric view. And there is always more. That's why I also don't like to do reads for free. And hi, Punky, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ghost you. Oh, okay. That's good to know. That's why I also, when people want to ask questions, it was like, it takes a lot of energy to stop and answer one question. Yeah. And right, because I like tend to know. Yeah, except for it's one of those when it's someone, okay, and this is what I learned. I'll hear someone from the past is coming back, and it'll be someone that I was like, ugh, no thanks. So recognizing it could be anyone, but also recognizing, are they truly who you want to be with? And are they someone that you would truly want to revisit, right? Because I'm like, if they're from my past, they don't get to come in and sit at my table now. Because they missed a lot of backstory. They don't get to all of a sudden be like, oh, I'm here. I'm like, yeah. And I've told people, and actually, because people will come, like, I have people come back from the past, but they come back to argue with me. And I was like, you should have just stayed in the past. Like, I had one woman, she called me and she's like, yeah, like, we had dropped off, and I'm one of those, I'm a Libra, right? So people tell me they're not interested. I'm like, bet, done, see you. Thank you. I was thinking the same thing. Actually, this happened with 2 different people. They both said, like, hey, I don't think we should be friends, or they'll be like, go no contact with me, and then they'll circle back and want to fight me because I agreed with them that I don't want to be friends either. Like, one lady, she had ghosted me for over a month, and she's like, well, I was being a bad friend, but then she wanted to regurgitate to me what I had done wrong, and I was like, no, I was not calling you either. Like, if you didn't notice, it was reciprocal that I was not reaching out to you. The fact that you wanted to circle back and disturb my peace, now we're going to have a problem. Because I laid into her after that. It was like, no, we settled this peacefully, and then you decided you wanted to come back and agitate me, and now I'm going to release the big guns. Right? So, yeah. Like I say, I tell people, if you're in the past, like, that door is like, and I used to tell my ex-husband when I was, like, done with him, I'm like, when you leave, lock the door behind you. Right? You'd be like, oh, do you want to snuggle or cuddle? I'm like, no, but lock the door on your way out because you're not coming back through it. All right? Okay, so my little love, mature man, it's recognizing the bigger picture. Okay, so as far as coming back for reconciliation, maturity is needed in this situation, either on your part or the other person's part, right? It's recognizing, okay, love can't look like mind games. It can't look like playing around, not hanging out with other people. So mature man, what I'm asking you is, if you're asking about reconciliation, is being mature about it and not entertaining things that are no longer for you. We're here to grow and learn, not to be stuck in the same old karmic patterns and loops. Sorry, Badger. False person. Whoever we've been dealing with, they're a false person. It's to get you off your path as well. That's with false person, that's to get you off your path or to detract you from your path. But you've got big things to do here. That's why I also say, I'm like, I don't get stuck, the dusty, crusty asses that can't make it along. No, they're false people, because with or without them, I'm getting to the end. Do you start noticing, though, when people pop up from your past, or when people pop up and it's like they're not authentic, they're just there as an agent of chaos. So what you've been dealing with is going to require being mature and looking at it and recognizing who is the truth and who is the false, right? So, and Brit as well with the kiddos, and I was going to kind of go back there. So main male, it's who you have family with, at least prioritizing having a good co-parenting relationship, right? Because sometimes people are so much better not together. So main male is saying, okay, maybe I did put too much attention, time, energy into this mature man who was a false person, and I need to recognize, no, who do I truly build with? Who have I built with? And baby daddy stuff is weird as well, because their cellular DNA is forever embedded in our brain, right? Like, I have the father of my children, and I carry their DNA within me because of that. So it's always going to be a little bit harder to get over someone that you do have actual children with, because you carry their DNA and their cellular energetic DNA within you. Okay, so toil and labor. This, be willing to do the work for what is necessary and what you're building towards, okay? And despair. It's always, I'm going to say this, it's always the darkest right before breakthroughs. I know nobody wants to hear that, and I know a lot of people are feeling this. It's like we've been working, and we have despair. Here's what I'm going to tell you, though. Take a minute to breathe, rest, drink water, meditate. Whenever you're feeling super stressed out, I always tell people my 4 pillars for being able to ground in: breathe, rest, drink water, meditate. It is that simple. If you forget everything else, okay, you have to breathe, right? Because if you don't breathe, you'll pass out. Resting is remembering that we have to take that moment to heal ourselves, because rest is healing and integration. Drinking water, remembering that you're hydrated. We are 70% water, like the earth. So if we are dehydrated, we're not working at proper capacity. And meditating is taking everything that you've learned throughout the day, throughout your life, throughout all the experiences, and integrating the lesson from it. When I say meditate, it's so you can integrate what you've been learning into actual applicable knowledge, right? And it is draining, and depression is a way for your body to conserve energy. I'm never going to shade anybody about depression. I spent 3 decades in depression, and I'm only 4 decades old, right? So the depression, it's not like it's nothing's wrong with you. It's so you can conserve your energy and make it long term, right? That depression is just for you to heal and integrate your body. And the problem is we say, we medicate it, so we never truly get to the root or the feeling of it. But it's also, we think there's something wrong with us because we're depressed. No, it's your body is trying to make sure that you make it to a great old age. So during this time when you maybe can't do all the things that you need to do and advocacy for yourself, depression will hit, right? And it's recognizing as well, like, there's varying degrees of depression. Like, yes, I've had really hard depression in the last 5 years, yet I recognize that before that, I didn't know I had depression. I didn't acknowledge it. I didn't know what the hell was wrong with me. And it was just being in the tunnel and never being able to truly see the light. And then when you get to it, you recognize, like for me, I'm like, yeah, I may have a depressing day or two, or I may feel some way, but I also know that I'm not where I was before. I'm not in that dark tunnel of depression. So even though I feel depressed for a moment, I can breathe, rest, drink water, meditate, move your body, right? So that you can move that depression out. Because all sadness that's anger that had nowhere to go, right? And anger is where we've been wronged, our soul's been wronged. And then depression is swallowing that emotion and never releasing it from our body. Like, healing is messy and it's hard and it's a forever process, right? Yet if we can't, if we don't ever heal ourselves, we're never going to be able to find peace and happiness and abundance. So, Britt, you want to know who you're going to meet to make yourself happy? Because I can go get the mirror. Like, people that actually work with me one-on-one, I normally get the mirror. Yes. You haven't met all the versions of you yet, especially not at 32. I'm not trying to be, but, like, I'm talking like I'm 43, right? So I've got 11 years of experience on you. You have not met the coolest versions of yourself yet. Just keep going. It gets better, right? So who you need to find that makes you happy is you. Because you have been with you 100% of your hardest days. Regardless of if a baby daddy showed up or a lover or whoever or whatever. So it's becoming in love with you and becoming so radically accepting of, like, my happiness matters more than anything else. Like, and people say, oh, that's selfish. No, the fuck it isn't. Because if you're not happy, you're not going to be an effective parent. If you're not happy and you don't love yourself, you're not going to be an effective partner, right? So, yes, it's recognizing even within yourself. And people, like, because my cutoff game is, like, fucking top tier. If you want to study some shit, like, if you want to study detachment and cutoff, I am a perfect case study for it. Because I'm like, I've cut off my mama, I've cut off my aunties, I've cut off my brothers, my sisters, even my own children. This isn't to brag, but it is saying that if it trespassed my boundaries, they were trying to be abusive and trespass my boundaries, which is what abusers do, right? It's recognizing, okay, no, I have to take care of me. So what I would suggest with you, book a reading with me. Book a reading, sit down with me, and I can teach you that cutoff game. Like, it's easy peasy, lemon squeezy, right? Yeah. So, right, book some time with me, baby. Because I don't, we don't ask, I don't work for free. That's the part of it. People want to come and they want to talk with me. They want to learn from me. But I'm like, you have to feed me too, right? This is my business. I have 7 animals that I support. And in a week's time, I'm going to be homeless. But I do try to show up and help teach others, but it's reciprocity and it's feeding me. Like, when I'm fed, then I help feed others, right? So recognizing, all right? But yeah, if you want to learn, I am the queen of detachment. I'm the queen of teaching others how to radically transform your life. Like, when I talk about, like, I had a client, I'm going to talk about this because it's almost the year mark where her and I started and for progress points, but within 6 months of time of her and I working together, right, she went from having to be pushed around in a wheelchair or struggling on a walker to being able to walk into the mall and try on bras and actually starting to date and getting out there and feeling her life and going to karaoke and all of this healing. I watched her reconnect with her estranged daughter. I watched her have peace and grace when her mother passed away. So yes, it's expensive to work with me sometimes, or it seems like a big, huge cost, but it's also, what do you want to see change in your life and how fast do you want to change it? Because that is one thing I do. Right? It's like, I don't know if you picked up on it. Like, no bullshit. It's like we're going straight to the problem and we're going to root it out. And that's really what I do with people. I teach you how to be able to empower, take back your own life, start creating boundaries that are respectful for yourself, and teaches others. Because that was the one part of it. This client that I had, her and her son had awful boundaries, right? She had awful boundaries towards him and he had awful boundaries towards her. And when her and I started working together, her son actually started to learn boundaries and how to improve his life through her vicariously. So it was like, not only was she reconnected with her estranged daughter, and her had been estranged for a long time, and she physically turned around in massive ways, because like I say, she was out there chasing sunsets and sunrises and walking when she couldn't hardly walk before. And it's like, well, I gave the guidance and motivation. These are all things I've done with myself, but you guys actually have to do the work. You have to make the investment in you, and you finally have to say, okay, I'm worthy of healing. I'm worthy of love. I'm worthy of living a good life. It's hard ass work. Like, I can't even say how many times I personally have wanted to just bounce out, right, and be like, fuck this. Like, even my because that client that I talk about with great success, and she's not the only one, right? Like, I had a dude who went from losing his job to moving across the country to where he wanted to be to get his dream job. Obviously, you have to do your work on your side of it, but I help people kind of marry and integrate the woo with the reality to create your biggest dreams in the physical. The really tough one, though, she was like 60-something Scorpio, and she also was like an old Scorpio, like very entrenched, very set in her ways, and I shook her world up, but she also was living and doing things she never thought she would ever be able to do again, or that she never thought she would ever do. So, yeah. So, what I do want to say to you, though, meeting someone is meeting you, and then when you love you and you know radically who you are and what you want, then you'll meet the person that helps love you, right? So we have lovers, adjudication, and marriage. So there are situations, partnerships going on behind the scenes, and marriage doesn't necessarily have to be actual marriage, but this may be co-parenting. But it's time to actually start looking at the matters that we have at hand. Like, if you are done with baby daddy, right, it's time to start looking at, like, okay, how do we physically cement this? How do we make this legal if you're separating ways? We do see imprisonment. I know that this has been making you feel like you're trapped, and you're not. Okay, but you do have to take the steps to unleash yourself. No one's going to do it for you. This part, no one's coming to help you, like, no one's coming to rescue you, but no one's coming to stop you either. So remember that in life. Before you're like, oh, I don't know if I should do this. Well, no one's coming to save you, but they're also not coming to stop you. So do what makes you best, right? What makes you happy. Definitely protecting yourself. But it does feel like it's about time to start doing the actual legal side of it and determining, like, okay, what does it look like separated? What does it look like co-parenting? On the other side of this, though, is 10 of Cups. Our happiness is on the other side of taking care of this situation right here, right now, and even legally taking care of it. Like, and this with the baby, with the child's side of it, is when there's court orders in place, it's not necessarily per se emotional. It's like, no, this is what the court order says, especially if you're dealing with someone who's abusive, right? Or likes to take advantage. It's recognizing, okay, court order makes it like, if this thing happens, this is the next step. Okay? So it's about that time to actually start doing it. Once you get it taken care of, 10 of Cups, you'll find that love, you'll find that happiness, you'll find the wish fulfillment. So closing out all the old chapters in that part, your kiddo probably, if you have children, you're dealing with legal situations, your kiddos need to see you not dealing with people that cut you, that play mind games, that make you feel like you have to overextend to cover their ends. Right, so Knight of Swords is, you can't build with a Knight of Swords because they're just a child at their core. And that is Aquarius, Libra, Gemini, but it's a very immature. Whenever I see Page, that's typically someone who's like 10 and under, even if it's mentally 10 and under. Or it could be your kiddo, but it's saying like, oh no, we don't let the kiddo drive the Ferrari, right? You wouldn't give the Ferrari keys to a 10-year-old. So if you're wanting happiness, you have to be willing to disempower those that are acting childish, right? Those that are intentionally trying to keep you in that should I stay or should I go? Because I'm always, if it's stay or go and the door is open, you'll never see my happy ass again, right? If it's like run or stay, bye. Okay, so Page of Coins. This is also, so with you, with Capricorn, right? Page of Coins is saying, how have you looked at money too small or looked at it from like a childlike perspective? So we do have these here with Page of Swords, Page of Pentacles, Page of Coins, right? It's recognizing there could potentially be happiness here if you guys work on things, but it has to come with emotional maturity. And if you guys also decide like, this is not my person, then please be willing to separate from each other so you can both find happiness, right? Your child deserves to see you happy with or without their parent, but it is up to you to make the decisions and be the responsible grown one, right? The moon, there are things that we were not seeing. This is watery energy, Piscean energy, things that were hidden in the dark. It's kind of like the moon. People always say, well, I can't see the moon, so it must not be affecting me. No, it's just partially obscured. So the moon is saying that there were things here that were obscured, that you weren't seeing the full picture of it. So if it feels like a question mark needing to walk away, we have Queen of Wands. This in this read is coming out very my way or the highway. Yes, passionate, yet unwilling to bend or break. So if you have, and this could potentially be an overbearing mother figure, is kind of what that feels as if it is. And almost like a witchy mother figure, like doing, whether it be kitchen witchery or witchery like spell casting. I don't know why I'm having such a, apparently they don't want you to know that. Because they keep trying to get me to trip up on my words. Yeah. So there's something, especially around a Queen of Wands, that we were not able to see. Like, yeah, they're fiery, they're passionate, but if they're doing it in the wrong capacity, it's detrimental to you. And with your children, with any of the kids, it's recognizing if it's, like, here is this part. I'm like, mother to mother, if it's me or some other mother, I'm choosing me. If it's my kids or someone else's kids, I'm choosing my kids. And yes, while that may sound selfish, I've also had too many people stab me in the back where I gave them the benefit of the doubt. So you really do have to start saying, it's, if you come for my kids, right, you're going to be buried. That would be great, Amira, if I had money to invest in gold. I am the gold, though, but I invest in me. That's why I glow. Okay, the Star is 7 of Cups. So Star is saying that you are the commander of your own life. You are the destiny. You are your own guiding light. Think of the lighthouse, right? Just like a star, everyone else can see it shine other than them. Right, the star is everyone else can see how big, bold, bright, shiny you are. That's why people love you, right? They want that star quality. Yet recognizing 7 of Cups, its choices, its options. 7 is heaven. And what we put in our body either puts us in a good place mentally into heaven, or it puts us in a bad place, which is addiction, toxicity, hell per se. But those are all mental constructs, right? So recognizing you are the creator and the destinator of your most beautiful life, but you do have to choose wisely. When I see 7 of Cups, this is always be careful what you're putting in your cup, which is your emotional body, right? Your cup is your emotional body. But if you put salt and sugar side by side, it's hard to differentiate. Yet if you're not discerning, you could get very sick. Right? So 7 of Cups is being like, if you want to rise up to your highest capacity, okay, you have to be very mindful of what emotions and people you are allowing in your mental mindscape. It's also when you're watching things, right? If you're watching things that are making you upset or they're leaving you salty, it's time to move on to a different channel. Okay, I'm going to use this example as well. Every day is a 24-hour roller coaster, right? Or a 24-hour amusement park. So every day is a 24-hour amusement park. And every ride is an emotion. So at any point in that day, you can hop onto and or off of any of those emotional roller coaster rides. You can also leave the park completely, or you can go to a different park. So every day is the opportunity, like, okay, well, I got on this ride today and it made me really sick to my stomach. I know tomorrow that I don't have to ride this emotion. I don't have to ride this wave. I don't have to ride the ride. And honestly, if every time, and think of, like I say, your life is an amusement park, you don't have to keep going back to that amusement park if you don't find value in it. Right? You can start building that life that doesn't feel like a carnival ride or House of Mirrors. So every day is a roller coaster amusement park. Every emotion is a ride you can ride, but you don't have to keep riding the same rides. You don't have to keep riding any of those rides or being in that park. Make sense? You can even, yeah. Okay, yet it goes back to being poised. Remember how I said if you are telling the universe I'm ready, but you're not actually showing that you're ready, right? Then it's going to be like, okay, well, I told you to get up and put your shoes on because we're going for a run. And that's really what it is. It's the same thing of like, if mom said, hey, we're getting in the car, you need to have your shoes on, you need to make sure your face is washed, we're leaving, but you don't actually get in the car to go, right? How are you going to get those new beginnings or those meetings? And this part, you're never going to be ready. You're going to have to do it scared. You're going to have to do it unprepared. You're going to have to do it with your voice shaking. You're never going to be prepared for anything in life. So show up. Do it, even if you're terrified, right? And this as well. The version of you 5 years from now is going to be so happy you made that choice to do this today, right? It's like starting something. The version of you 5 years from now that is making the wealth of their lifetime off of it and living their best life is like, thank you for starting, right? Because it had to be started at some point, and I know you were scared and you weren't prepared and you didn't feel like you had anything in a row, but thank you, because the only way to get good at something is by doing it through repetition. Like, an example, I started streaming and reading for others about 2 years ago. If you looked at my first videos, or if you look at like when I first started, I was so unsure and scared, yet it was like, if I don't start today, I'm never gonna start. You're talking about with baby daddy, because yes, I think that was like, for me with my ex-husband, that's where the resentment came in, because it was like, I birthed 3 children, but I had a grown-ass adult that I had to be parental to. I had to parentify. So that's that resentment, because he should be able to step up and truly be a man and be a father. And if he isn't, and this is the other part, if they're not ready to stand up, please, they need to sit down so you can see the person behind them who is standing up, who is ready to do the job. And this I noticed, like, even with my ex-husband, there were things that I begged him to do for years, and he never did. And the next guy did it within a month, right? He won't be able to. He won't be able to. Yet it's time, though, to start separating church and state, separating yourself from him and being like, because he won't ever appreciate you till you're gone. Yeah. And and the problem is that you're upsetting you. He don't care because he's getting what he wants, right? He don't want you to leave, so he ultimately gets what he wants. But I need you to recognize, no, you're valuable and worthy of getting what you want. My throat chakra is really wanting to catch on fire there. Hold on. Yeah. All you're doing is building resentment towards yourself and towards him. Because this is the part you're going to start getting mad at yourself. One day you're going to look in the mirror and be like, I'm so sick of my own shit because I stayed. Right? Like, when you stay too long, you get mad at yourself. You're like, I should have left 2 summers ago because I saw the writing on the wall then. Right? So there comes a point. So, babe, at what point do you finally put your foot down and say today's the day? Because only you can do that, but you do have to finally do that where you just say, you know what? Today's the day. And yes, it's hard, and yes, it's scary, and you're never going to feel prepared, but you will start feeling spectacular once you can breathe. And it doesn't always, I'm going to say this, though, too. When you're in long-term partnership or marriage or relationship, okay, but at some point, you're going to have to realize that your ego is not right, and it's only getting you in more damage. And that's as well why I do typically deal with heavily egoed people. I typically attract people who have an ego that think that they're not wrong. And I'm like, but I'm going to bring you over and teach you a different way, right? Because you do have to start recognizing, like, yes, your ego wants to protect you or wants to say, ha, I was right. But your soul will say, you know, sometimes it's okay to be misunderstood and take an L because it's long term, right? Because remember how I go back to your son's watching you. You're teaching your son how to treat you and how he's going to treat his future partner. There's no, like, this part. Waiting, hoping for them to change. How long have you been waiting for them to change and hoping for them to change and praying for it? And that's not shade. That's saying, you know, if they haven't changed in 16 years, they're never going to change. So at what point do you realize I have to change? Okay? And these are all closing out. Like, we've been in a 7-8 year chapter, especially for the cardinal signs, especially for Libra and anybody that's affected deeply by Taurus. We are closing out an 8-year chapter where it's like, our relationships are changing, right? And this is the biggest part, Britt, and this is where I would recommend that you come actually work with me, right? And I help talk to you about it, right? Is because it's that whole, you guys can be done and not have contention over it, right? You guys can be done and actually still walk away and still like each other. Right? Because then when you start taking it and realizing that we're not healthy together, we're not healthy for our child together, something has to change. And one of us, like, that's where even if he's older than you, you have to look at and be like, I have to be the adult. I have to be the bigger person. And for the sake of my son, do what's best for us long term. Right? And this is why when people just ask me, like, is someone coming back from the past? I'm like, please don't waste my time and your time. Because I want to see you heal. I don't want to just have you waiting around for so-and-so from the past, right? And instead, how do we empower you to actually live your best life with someone who hasn't fucked up before now, right? and get exactly what you want, dream, and need. And broken family, broken. Okay, so how about this, though, as well? Broken crayons still color. So coming from broken family doesn't mean that you're broken. It just means you have some other key characteristics, right? You would believe in marriage for the right person, right? I know, don't come for me, because Capricorn especially, don't tell me, boy, get out of here. Go. Dude, get out of here. Go. Don't crap right in front of my door. Okay, sorry. The neighbor dog decided that he wanted to shit right in front of my door, which annoys the crap out of me. Yeah. And I will tell you, my kids are... I only have a week left here, but apparently my vibe's so good that everybody and their brother thinks my yard and my front door is a great place to hang out. The neighbor dogs actually get mad because we used to spend my dog and I used to spend a lot more time outside, and they used to be able to socialize. And with everything that's been going on, especially the last 2 months, we haven't spent time outside a lot, and the neighbor dogs get upset. They'll bring up rocks and offerings for my dog and toys, but I'm also hey, so I don't know. He's not really scared of me. The neighbor dog's not really scared of me, but so it feels though that when you are in a safer environment for you and your child emotionally, that you'll be able to have a dog. You'll be able to have as many animals as you want. So this is with death, though. It's recognizing, okay, what can we no longer hold on to? What do we need to let go of permanently? So death is Scorpio energy, but it's closing the chapter. It's finally saying, no, you know what? We're not going to keep going back there. As well, and eight of wands, you're getting the messages, right? And this is the part that I go through. I'm not the same version I was 3 years ago, right? So when people try to compare me to someone that I no longer am, I'm like, well, that's great, except for I don't even know how many funerals for that past woman, right? For all the past versions of myself. So death isn't meant to be scary. It's just saying we're closing out a chapter. It's the rebirth, right? Think of Scorpio energy, which is also a phoenix, right? And it's that transformation. It's saying, yes, I went through the fire. Yes, I turned into ashes, and I still rose above. It's very beautiful energy. I talk about the phoenix all the time. Because I'm from Phoenix, right? And I have a lot of I have 2 phoenix tattoos, but it speaks to rebirth, right? It's, even though that fire may have, it didn't consume you, it just forged you. So, yes, it's hard. Endings are hard. Doing the thing is hard, but it is time to say, okay, and you just have to start. That is some of my biggest advice is, even if you're scared, even if it's hard, even if you feel like you want to run back and screaming, you just have to start, right? And and also once you accept it, it'll be easier. Once you mentally, because even for me, I looked in the mirror one day and I was like, if I do not get out of here, I'm gonna die, right? Because the extenuating factors for us, he and I were both alcoholics. We were both functioning alcoholics. And I had depression. Yeah, I was still in a lot of pain, so I was still medicating. I would be to the point where I didn't know if I would wake up in the morning. And so I came to the realization one day, and it literally was like a lightning bolt. If I do not get out of here, I'm going to die here. Whether it be from cirrhosis, whether it be depression, whether it be cancer, because the amount of effects that alcohol has on our body and our psyche and our soul is completely damaging. Right? So it's recognizing, okay. And that's as well, Britt, is that if he's in active addiction, whether it be alcohol or gaming or gambling or porn, or any other addiction, he's not able to see clearly because there is something else driving him. That is the part with the father of my son, or the father of my girl, sorry, is still an active addiction and with alcohol, and he's not able to see anything past it. So 420 is slightly different, and the reason being is because your body has endocannabinoid receptors because it's naturally occurring, right? 420 is naturally occurring, so your body has natural receptors, and it helps with a lot of things. Alcohol is completely man-made, and what alcohol does, and this goes back to like chemistry and to science and medicine, it literally strips your body, right? So alcohol, because I think of it like when I go to remove something off of, like if I remove a sticker, right, I use alcohol because it strips that adhesive, it strips everything in our body. So vices are different, but it's also, they're all addictions, right? But it's also saying that natural medicine, use it with discretion and caution versus using it as a crutch. Yeah. And alcohol is a huge addiction. And I used to work in trauma in the ER, and I've seen people do horrendous things when they were drinking and not even realize what they had done. It's so utilizing it, is it like you can't live without it, or it's a, it helps me feel zened out, right? And it's recognizing, like, is this a problem? Is it affecting my daily life, or does it actually help me function? Like for me personally, I was a late stage stoner, right? I didn't start truly imbibing until COVID. So I was almost 40 when I actually truly started, but I found that is better for me than any other things, right? It helps calm my ADHD, it helps calm my OCD, it helps me think slower, which I know, but it helps me think slower, which means that I can better relate and talk to others. I'm like, yeah, no, I do that because it helps me not fly all the way out. All right, let's see what else we need to know. And I'm actually probably going to hop out pretty soon. So King of Pentacles, it's in reverse. So it's saying that we are not feeling grounded, stable in our own energy right now. It is saying, though, that it's like, okay, well, and especially if you are considered Pentacles or King of Pentacles, it's saying, okay, these things need to be taken care of. Like when a turtle's on its back, right, it can actually die there. So recognizing, all right, I need to get out of this situation. I do have to do it myself because, again, no one's coming to rescue you. So recognizing, okay, how do I do this? And before you get overwhelmed, it's slow and steady wins the race. Like, that's turtle mentality too. Like, how do you do that big task? It's one step at a time, one bite at a time. Stop looking at like it all has to be done at once. It's, okay, what do I need to do right here, right now to make this matter? And also as well, guys, is recognizing it's the little steps that will help you long term. Okay, so we have Page of Wands. Hello, guys. Page of Wands is saying that we were dealing with someone who's fiery, passionate, but justice in the sun. So justice is having to balance those scales, right? And the sun is recognizing we're going to be getting back up tomorrow. The sun shows up every day, whether we want it to or not, right? Even when we complain about it, even when we say, like, the sun here, who does he think he is? Who does she think she is? Showing up every day. No, you have made it through 100% of your artist days, with or without anybody else. So justice is saying, when you stand in your light, when you stand in your own authority, you take that power back on you. You bring in that justice. And justice is being logic, right? Using our sword to cut through any of the entanglements that we may have going on. So remember how we had Queen of Wands earlier coming out, and I said it felt like a meddling, trifling mama. Right now we have Page of Wands. and the King of Pentacles in reverse. So it's that disempowerment, right? Whoever that was, even though they present as a queen, no, really at their core, they're a page. They just want to create chaos just because they want to create chaos. And what it's done is it's left you feeling like upside down, inside out, on your back, unable to move forward. So, okay, who do we have to shine the light on and cut off? That really is. It's saying, okay, it is time to illuminate this, and swiftly. This is that detachment game. That's why I say, come work with me. If you guys want to know about cutoff game and detachment, come work with me. I'm the queen of it, right? So it's recognizing, okay, what do we have to shed the light on? Because knowing the problem is half the battle, right? Knowing the problem is half the battle. Once you can identify it, then you can start to fix it. That's the other half of the battle, right? And this is something that I've worked really hard with one of my kiddos, is like, pattern recognition, showing her the pattern and being like, okay, well, you see the loop playing out again. You don't have to keep choosing what you did before. You can change the pattern. Once you recognize it, you call it out, and then you can finally overcome the lesson, right? You don't have to do the whole lesson in order to be released from it. You just have to learn the lesson and test that you're proficient. That also goes back to when you say you're ready, the universe will give you an opportunity, and it will feel like a test. The universe will be like, okay, well, you say this. Well, here's a test to see. Have you done your work? Are you truly prepared? If you're not prepared, then that's going to be shown as well. We can say with our mouth all day long, but if we're not actually moving our body, we're not actually putting action, motion behind it, then it's just words. Right? So start standing on it. Start moving because people can speak all day long. It's like when people say like, oh, I love you, or I want to be your friend, or maybe your man. Okay, that's great. Talk is cheap, but where do you move your feet? Right? Because the mouth moves all the time, but you have to watch the chest and the toes, because wherever the toes point, that's where the chest goes. So if you truly want to know someone's intentions, it's watching how their body moves, not how their mouth moves. And that's also, if you want to tap into your spiritual gifts, it's being radically honest with yourself, right? If you want gifts, it's being honest, because this is the part when you because people always want to get funny in the spiritual realm. I was like, yeah, you can't lie to the angelics or the demons, because you're going to be in a lot of trouble. That's why you have to be radically honest, because when it gets fucked up, you're going to have to take radical accountability for that. And if you can't, then the universe won't give you gifts to be able to utilize to hurt others, right? I had so many people that wanted to lie to me, and I'm like, well, you're not going to get true results, or you're not going to get what you want, because you're not actually being honest with yourself or with me. If you're not honest with either of us, how can I help you become what you want to be, right? Okay. Hey, get away from my door, boy. Go. All right. And also remembering small steps actually do make a big difference. He does want to play. And like I say, I do feel bad. And this neighbor has locked them outside, like locked them in cages, their dogs. And I can tell he's definitely abused. And I'm also like when they were locking... To tell you what kind of kids I raised... I have a kid that has liberated a dog from a kennel before. And then when that dog was crying when he was locked in the kennel, I was like, I really wish she had been here, because she would have liberated their dog. In the day, like when I go to move, it's definitely attempting to be like, hey, let me just open the door and see if he wants to come with me. Hey, Comedies, how are you? How's it going? Thank you for the heart me. Tiny bunny and heart me. Hello, hello. Thank you for bringing some life to my life, man. All right, so the Star and Seven of Cups, they come out again together. It's like rising up into your highest and greatest good. And Seven of Cups, being discerning about who comes with you, right? Thank you, Britt. I appreciate. Even just chatting with me, though, that's energy reciprocity. Obviously, money is always nice, but chatting is also reciprocity. So then I don't just feel like if there was no one talking to me, I would have been out probably 45 minutes ago. Because I'm like, when people don't talk to me, I'm like, I've got other stuff I can be doing, right? I have other people that can be bending my ear and talking my time. Okay, so Seven of Cups and the Star. It does get awkward. And I'm used to people watching me, but that doesn't mean that I like it. Like, I have tons of lurkers that watch me, and I'm like, please stop. Like, it's weird. I don't think it's cute. I don't think it's funny. Like, either speak now or forever hold your pieces, because I will cut you. Okay, so when people just watch, a lot of times you'll just see me, I'm like, okay, I'm done. If nobody's talking and it's awkward and I'm just, no. Okay, so Seven of Cups and the Star. Recognizing you're meant to rise, but not everyone's going to be able to come with you. I gotta go, guys. Bye. Not personal. I gotta take this.